Have a seat on your porcelain throne. It's time to talk some shit on the Powell movement.
Welcome to the Powell movement. I'm your host, Mike Powell, and well, I've been going off on rants lately in these intros. And while I still have a rant, this one's going to be a little different. This week, I'm not going to complain about all the trouble with the Olympic judging. And while the skiing has been okay, I do have some issues with it. But I'm going to have the head Olympic ski judge, Jason Ahrens, on the show soon. So I'll hold off on my complaints on the ski judging, and I will give them to the main dude when he gets on the podcast, and I will get the answers from the horse's mouth. But the snowboarding judging has been a joke. Todd Richards, the Olympic commentator, competitor, and the voice of snowboarding, he nailed it with his Instagram rants on how the judges fucking blew it. And how could that have even happened? He was pissed, and for good reason. When you blow Olympic judging, you really alter careers and lives. The difference between a gold and bronze medal is huge in terms of money, appearances, and opportunities throughout your life, and the difference between medaling and not medaling is life-defining. So not to have the highest tech replay tools, and honestly, I don't know what they have available in the booth, but the Olympics should have the level of NFL angles to ensure the best proper judging. And they should have the proper time to score these athletes. Because these athletes work so hard for 3 minutes of Olympic contest runs every 4 years, if they're lucky or good enough to make it. And these judged Olympic snowboarding events were a disservice to the best athletes in the world. While I want to put all the blame on the judges, these people are getting paid $100 a day for their judging. At least that's what I hear. And I guess, like everywhere in life, you get what you pay for. You know, in Seattle, an employee can make $100 working 4 hours at a McDonald's shift, but an Olympic judge is only making $100 for a whole day. Like I said, I don't have those facts and figures in front of my head, but I've heard it enough times to believe it. And it's crazy. And I'm willing to bet that the figure skating judges get paid more than the snowboard judges do. And really, if there's a discrepancy in judges' pay across the board, I have a problem with that. Honestly, there have been issues since snowboarding got into the Olympics. And it's been funny to hear all the snowboarders complain that Terje was right still when he boycotted the Olympics so long ago. While I may not pronounce his name correctly, Terje Håkansson took a stance back then, and it was badass. I mean, before I blew my knee out snowboarding, I used to be a snowboarder. I defined myself by that sport. And in the late 90s, Terje was the god of snowboarding, and he was against the Olympics. And while I hate to use Terje as an example here, because while I'll always be in awe of his riding, he put that homophobic tweet out there directed at Gus Kenworthy, which I think happened right around the time that Burton dropped him after 32 years of sponsorship. Coincidence? I think not. But when that happened, I lost a lot of respect for that dude. But I'm bringing up Terje because while he may have been right with the boycott, snowboarding has been bad at organizing over the years. And I should say that it's not his fault. He's been the best at organizing. He had the Arctic Challenge event for 15 years, and that was one of the coolest events in snowboarding. But in the long run, it's just a memory with no lasting impact. Terje's canceled, and in a lot of ways, snowboarding is still complaining about FIS running and ruining their sport. And while I'm not a fan of FIS either, after more than 25 years of complaining, it's funny to me that snowboarding hasn't organized and advocated for themselves. Snowboarding has deep pockets and smart people everywhere. Put a leadership group together and figure it out. And then maybe talk to the people that are teaching the up-and-coming snowboarders these gymnastic moves. Ask them about how snowboarding should approach judging. They have a lot longer history with judge sports, and maybe they'll have a better idea of how to judge and control snowboarding better than the turtlenecked skiers will. Because as any core snowboarder will tell you, skiing is doing a terrible job of running snowboarding. But the other 95% of the world who don't ski and snowboard and only see it at the X Games and the Olympics, well, they think everything is just great. But it's not. Snowboarding has become the punk rock kid who was once DIY and now he shops at the mall and follows all the rules. And what snowboarding needs to do is say fuck authority again and do something about it. Until then, snowboarding will continue to be a puppet of the old ski world, and that sucks for them. Really, I love watching snowboarding. I love doing it when it doesn't hurt my knee. I love the community around everything that snowboarders have built over the years. Why rely on FIS for anything? You're better than that. That's the start of my rant. The second part is going to be a strange one. You know I complain about my wife Ange being dead and that I'm sad and lonely and bored, and all of that's true. And on a lot of my weekend nights, I'm stuck at home, I'm not talking to people, and I'm just waiting for the next day to come, and it totally sucks. Yes, I can go out, but most of my friends have families and shit going on, and I need to make new friends. ones that don't have shit going on, and ones that aren't going to be bringing up ands all the time to me. So I decided to do something that I've thought about for a while, and I finally pulled the trigger. I downloaded Tinder. While I'm not ready to hook up with anyone or even go out on a date with anyone, I wanted to see who was out there. I've always figured that online dating would be like shooting fish in a barrel, much easier than trying to meet people in a bar. So I set up my profile and I made it clear that I'm a widow who's only looking for friends. And then I start looking at the profiles. What the fuck happened over the past 20 years? I mean, I go to look at people's hobbies and interests, looking for things like skiing and music and shit like that. And what I'm finding more often than not is a lot of women are listing things like Black Lives Matter, acai, feminism, LGBTQ rights, and I probably missed a letter there, sorry about that, as hobbies and interests. And I get that people care about social issues and like drinking smoothies. But that's what you want to tell people about yourselves? What in the actual fuck? I mean, Black lives do matter, and I'm fully behind a lot of social movements, but to call them a hobby? Jesus Christ, that's just so lame to me. I mean, listing something like pro-choice as a hobby is just insane to me. And I've seen it more than a few times. Like, how can pro-choice be a hobby? While it's an important human right to me, how is it a hobby? Like, are you hanging out at Planned Parenthoods? I just don't get it. But what I don't get more than that is a lot of women think that showing photos of them with their kids is a good thing. I see that, I'm like, automatic block. Fuck your kids. Sure, if I like you, I'm going to be cool to your kids, but to make them an actual selling feature, hard pass. I'm also a hard pass for anyone that lists country music as a hobby. If you like it enough to put it in your profile, you're going to try and make me listen to it one day. So blocked. And then the easiest block for me, and I guess that's swipe left or whatever they call it, but the easiest block for me is anybody that has anything religious in their profile. I don't like that at all. But even with all of my pickiness, I already have a bunch of people that like me already. Who wouldn't? But I'm not going to pay the $18 to see who they are. And I don't think it matters anyways, as I've already blocked everyone in my area that comes into my feed for one reason or another. Too hot, too ugly, too fat, looks crazy. I'm pretty quick to judge. And while I'm not ready yet to date or to meet someone or do anything, it is interesting and disappointing to look all at the same time. So that's where I am in life right now, and I figure, like everything else the past couple of years, I may as well share this with you. The good news is that while I'm bored and stuck here at home, I'm starting to MC events next week. I have one at Alpental, then I'll be at Mission Ridge, then the Payne McSlonky, and then the Hestival in Colorado. So life's about to get really busy with work for me, and that's what I need right now, not dating apps. But whatever. That was my intro. My guest this week doesn't need a dating app. She ended up dating her next door neighbor. And while that does come up in the podcast, who cares who Hana Beaman is dating? What I care about is what she's up to. And Hana has been a woman thriving in a predominantly man's world for almost 3 decades. And when I podcasted with her 9 years ago, I bet her that in 10 years, she wouldn't be a paid pro snowboarder anymore. Well, after all these years, Hana still has an incredible sponsor list, and this week I was able to catch up with her after she spent a few weeks in Japan. Before we get into the podcast, I want to ask you to do a few things for me. First, please hit me up if you need stickers, trade show displays, tents, or banners. I haven't been selling very much lately, and I want to keep my insurance and my job over at diecutstickers.com. So if you email me at mike.powell@diecutstickers.com, I will get you the best pricing and product out there. It is so easy. Thank you for doing that. Second, please tell a friend about this podcast. If you like the show, I have a feeling that your friends are going to like it as well, and that does help the show grow. So please do that for me. Finally, and most importantly, please listen to my sponsor ads and buy their products. They're the ones who really do make this show happen. The brands I'm talking about are Elan Skis, Outdoor Research, Best Day Brewing, Ski Idaho, and Insta360 Video. Now, it's time to chat with Hana Beaman. So you were just in Japan for a month, and it sounded like it was the 50-year storm from Point Break, but for snow. Where did you go? Who were you there with, and for how long?
It was the prime time to be there. I scored. I was on Honshu, North Honshu. I can't tell you exact locations because it's super secret.
Okay.
Super, super secret. But no, I was there with Mint Tours. If you go to their website and book a trip with them, you'll figure out where we were, and you'll get endless, bottomless Japan POW.
How long were you there for? It seemed like, because I saw you at an event like a month ago, and it seemed like you were in Japan for quite a while.
Yeah, I was there for a little over 2 weeks this time.
And is that Mint Tour? Is it something where they're bringing you out as like you're maybe the snowboard celebrity rider?
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of that. Like I guided a trip, or I didn't guide. I don't want to like let people think that I'm like guiding trips. I'm like hosting trips. So they have a guide and I kind of tag along as like the mascot entertainment.
You keep everyone stoked.
Yeah, keep everybody stoked, make sure everybody's having a good time, provide a little bit of entertainment. Yeah, it's the second trip I've done with them, which was really fun. We did a trip last year with a few other girls from the Full Moon film reboot that we're doing. And we had a couple of crews of girls that came out to Japan to ride with all of us, which was awesome. And then this year we kind of scaled it back a little bit and I just went over and did a couple myself. So really fun tours. You can just go over there and not have to worry about much and just ride awesome snow and have a great time. So they're great to work with. I love that I get to go and do that for fun. And it's part of work too. So it's great.
And you hear about all the snow that they get. You hear this year has been an extraordinary one, but does it ever get too deep there? Especially on a snowboard, like is the terrain steep enough where you're not going to bottom out and get stuck?
Yeah, I mean, Japan has its flat spots. Like it has a little bit of a bad rap for being flat and because it gets so much snow. But if you know where to go, there's definitely deep areas that are super fun. And I mean, you sometimes you always got to size up your board for Japan because it is deep. So a little bit bigger board can be, beneficial, but there's decent terrain if you know where to go. That's for sure.
And do the Japanese hit that rad terrain, or do they more stay on like on piste per se, and you guys go and like all the Americans and the crews and like the random Japanese rider like goes and gets the goods?
It used to be a lot more like the Japanese would stay on the groomed runs or just on the open runs, but there's definitely a bunch of Japanese riders that get after it. And, there's a lot of tourists that come in and ride the trees. And I think they've kind of given up on keeping everybody out of the trees in most places. I think it's like they haven't been super successful, like people just go in there. So I think they've kind of given up trying to regulate that. But it's not just Americans and Aussies and tourists. There's definitely a bunch of local Japanese rippers and, other Japanese people from all over the country that seek out those deep snow and have a good time and know where to go.
Is it like the U.S. where like you wake up to Avi bombs and you have to wait until the resort opens? And is it that same kind of vibe?
No, they don't really do much like AVI control over there, but you have to wait for them to open like more to like clear the chairlifts and make sure that like everything is working because there's just so much snow that comes down overnight. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for them to, get the chairlifts cleared out and get them running. And I think they do some avalanche mitigation, but it's not quite like the US.
Okay. And then culture-wise, I would think that's like a huge part of the experience. I mean, given a lot of times you're going for work and it's all about getting shots and stuff, but the culture's like the bonus to it all. On a trip like this, I'm sure you're taking in a lot of culture because you're like the good times girl on this trip, making sure everybody's having a good time. And what's your favorite part of Japanese culture?
Oh man, there's so many parts about Japan that are so rad. The food is obviously like so good, and everywhere you go, it's like the cheaper the ramen spot, the better. So it's like you can find like this dinky little, little ramen spot where there's like grandmas in there making your ramen, and it's like some of the best ramen ever. Or, there's just a bunch of different little hole in the wall, small restaurants that are so good. But they're so nice. Like the Japanese people are so nice, and it's just a lovely place to be. Like the energy over there is just very thoughtful, and they're just such a nice people, like very kind. So that's really nice to experience that. And I don't know, everything's cute over there.
Huh.
Like there's just so much cuteness. It's like hard to be angry.
And then I hear a lot of guys coming back talking about going to the onsens, which sound like a men's bathhouse. Is there the equivalent out there for women?
Oh, yeah, for sure. The onsen life is pretty sweet too. I do kind of miss hanging like in the hot tub with guys. It's kind of, I don't know, it's like a little different than like the après hot tub scene or just like having your buddies, like all your buddies there. It's a little more formal, you go in and you shower and like wash yourself, and then you get to kind of soak in more of a peaceful hot spring. And there's not a lot of like talk or chatter in there. It's all very It's all very calming and peaceful, and but it's like it's lovely. It's so lovely.
Okay, and one of my last Japanese questions or questions about Japan is, have you ever been on a Japanese game show?
Oh, I actually have not been on a Japanese game show, but I did try to be on a Japanese game show.
So what's the story behind that?
Oh man. God, I don't even know what year that was, but I got approached by my agent, and she was asking if I'd be interested in being on a Japanese game show where they do like a physical challenge. And they have like the boy band TV shows over there. It's like big boy band stuff. They love the boy bands over there with like 8 or 9 boys in the boy band.
Okay.
And they had their own TV show. And like on Thursdays, it was like physical challenge day. And it looked like the physical challenge was like a limbo. So I was like, oh yeah, I can limbo, like the video they sent me as an example. I was like, yeah, cool. That looks fun. It looks like, Japanese game show, kind of weird, kind of
Crazy.
And I'm like, and they were like, oh yeah, they want like a female snowboarder to go. And like, it's all fun. It's not really serious. Like you just go and you do your thing. And I'm like, you sign me up. I'm there. So I get to Japan and they pick me up at the airport, like the interpreter, and we go straight to the TV station. And they're like, okay, like you can wait here and stretch and get ready while the like girl in front of you gets to practice. And I'm like sitting in this like tatami room waiting and stretching. I just got off the 10-hour flight to Japan. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Like I'll stretch, like get ready to practice. And I like catch a glimpse of the girl that was practicing before me. And I'm like, immediately, I'm like, something is very off right now. I was like, this is going to be way different than what I was understanding it to be. The girl in front of me had like back bend, like with her head going back and around and like between her legs. So she was like looking forward again. And I was like, oh, this is bad. Like this might be bad. And so I like go and try to practice. And it's like you're moving on like a moving carpet underneath these limbo bars. You're not like walking. So you can like plant your feet and like really try to get back and get low. And I was just like, oh man, there is no way I'm gonna get that low. And it occurs to me that the video that they sent, I assumed it was like the winner because the bar was pretty low. It was at like 60 or 70 centimeters off the ground. And I'm like, yeah, that's low, right?
Yeah.
And no, that's like the starting point for all these girls to qualify. and I'm like, oh God, oh dear, like this is embarrassing. And so I'm like trying to get under this like 70 centimeter limbo bar and I just cannot do it. It's like a moment out of Lost in Translation where the director or whoever is there trying to like show me how to get lower and like showing me the techniques. And I just cannot. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I will stretch and I'll practice and I'll try again tomorrow before the show. Right. And so it's like, I'm feeling pretty embarrassed. I call my agent and I'm like, what have you done? Like you have sent me into the lion's den here. I'm like, I can't do this. This is embarrassing. I'm like the big American girl who can't limbo. And I'm just like freaking out. And I'm like, oh my God, they flew me over here. I'm supposed to do this appearance thing on this TV show. And I'm like, of course I have like jet lag. And so it's like, I sleep a little bit and then I'm up at like 4 a.m., like wandering the streets of Tokyo, like stressing about this TV show. And I end up getting to the station and I try again. And they're just like looking at me so disappointed. And the director like is talking to my interpreter. She's like, we can't really let you on the show because it's not fair to the other girls because they qualified with this height and you can't do it. And we don't want you to embarrass yourself. And I'm like, yeah, me neither.
Thank you.
I'm like, thank you. And I'm like, I'm so embarrassed. I feel so bad. I'm like, can I at least watch the show? And they're like, oh yeah. Like, so I got to like stand behind the set and like watch the show. And it was so impressive. Out of the 7 girls that did this limbo contest, there's like a contortionist from like Ukraine and like a circus girl from Russia and like these Chinese girls who are crazy and the Korean girl. And it was so impressive. And they set a world record of 27 centimeters that they limboed underneath.
That's crazy. That's like
It's
what, like
crazy.
8 inches or something like that?
It's less than a foot. And it's like the moving part of the limbo, like the carpet of the limbo thing that they were on, it like was lower behind them. So they could actually go like negative, get their body below their feet and go under this. It was wild. And I've been trying to find like YouTubes of it. It's really hard to find like a YouTube of this TV show, but it was just insane. And I was like, I cannot believe like they thought that I could do that. They were like, yeah, we thought, like snowboarders, strong legs, flexible. And I'm like, not that direction.
Yeah. And we've got the snowboarder from California who towers over our other competitors.
I know, I'm like huge compared to like these little women that can like contortion themselves into like nothing. But it was pretty funny. And there was also an Olympic silver medal ice skater, like a US ice skater. I can't remember her name, but she was there and she got to do a different physical challenge where you would stand on like this post that was about the size of like maybe like a beer can.
Okay.
And it would move until you'd have one foot on this post and you had to move through this like cookie shape cutout of like a human doing like a Y with their leg up in the air. It was like insane too. And she didn't make it through the physical challenge either. And we were both just like, oh, okay, well, that tracks. It was wild. So yeah, that was my like 36 hours in Japan that I got to experience a game show, but yeah, I was not on the game show, unfortunately.
Well, it seems like they are crazy athletes or can do crazy things with their bodies. But when you got
Yeah.
back from Japan from this trip, what people were doing that was crazy with their bodies and they're still doing is the Olympics are going on. You used to be a
Yeah.
competitive snowboarder. You used to spin big 7s, 9s, and maybe 10s. I don't know. Are you going crazy
No.
with the spins that you see today? Like, it's absolutely ridiculous, right?
It is wild. I'm like, I never really got like maybe the biggest spin I ever did was a 9,
Okay.
like a cab 9 in the backcountry, and it was like questionable landing, right? But I'm like, I had 7s, and it's like I can't even really fathom doing a 1440 or like a switchback 12, like and like triple corks. I'm like, it is so beyond like anything that was really within my grasp. Like in my wildest dreams, I was like, if I could do a 1080, but I never quite got there. So it's like so impressive to see all these women just like blowing minds and like doing it with such style out at the Olympics. Like it makes me so proud to see them. It's amazing.
It's amazing where things have come since we talked just like 9 years ago, because the last time we podcasted, it was 2017. We were at Wendell's. I had been doing this for like 8 months. You were like 33. And we talked about this about a month ago. But I said to you, if you were still getting paid by 2 brands to snowboard in 10 years, I would pay you $10. I thought it was $20 when I saw you a few weeks ago, but I went back and listened. It was $10. And
did you already hand me a 20? Do I have to give you 10 back?
No. I handed you a 10. And I said I still owe you 10, but I guess I didn't owe you 10, so it all worked out how it was supposed to work out. But who are your sponsors today that pay you?
Right now, I mean, I'm still riding for Ride Snowboards and Vans. I ride for 686 and Pit Viper is a new one.
Sick.
And yeah, I love it. It's great. They make great stuff. So I'm pretty stoked to be working with them. And then I'm not getting paid by, BCA and Skidoo, but I work with them and they support me. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Do you have to work another job or does snowboarding pay the bills at this point?
Snowboarding's still paying the bills. Oh, and also Ridge Marino is a cool little rider-owned company, base layer company out of Mammoth Lakes, and I love them. They've been a new sponsor that I've been working with, and I love all their stuff. And I'm not making the big bucks like I used to, but I'm still making it, I'm still just dedicated and get to go out and play, and that's what I get to call my job. So I'm super fortunate. Especially old lady like me. It's like I'm 43. I'm like, I did not think I would still be doing this at 43. So I feel very, very fortunate.
Yeah, no, I bet against you back then. But when you say making the big bucks, at one point, you know, you had Ride, Vans, Rockstar, Von Zipper, Nixon, Grenade, Elm, Zinca, Volet. When you have that list of sponsors, are you able to make 150 to 200 grand plus travel and snowboarding?
I mean, I wouldn't say that I was making that much from just my sponsors. Like kind of back in the day when I was competing, I'd be making like a decent amount from sponsors. And then I really kind of cashed in with contest prize money and those bonuses from the contest scene.
Like the matches and stuff?
Yeah, it's a lot more lucrative when you're winning, 10, 15 grand every couple of weekends versus, just going out and filming and kind of doing that. So still super happy and more so even doing it the way I want, like not making as much money per se, but still very satisfied with the way I am making a living snowboarding. That's for sure.
I mean, most people do exactly what you did. They go through the contract ranks, they compete until they're sick of it, and hopefully they have the style and personality that can get them to where they're filming every year with someone and brands will pay them to film. You've been paid to film since what, like 2009 or something like that?
I don't know. That's kind of a hard question. I feel like I started really filming in like 2007, maybe was my first like legit part. And then I competed, my last X Games was in 2011.
Okay.
And then I did a little bit of contest dabbling in 2013 when the Olympics added slopestyle. I quickly realized that was not really for me. I was like, this is not what I have worked so hard to do. But yeah, I would say since 2011, it's been pretty much just filming and backcountry focused. And it's been cool even now that I'm not competing. Like I did NST for a few years and that was fun and did okay at that. Like I'm happy not competing, but I'm still able to be a part of the contests by doing some hosting and announcing for like Natural Selection Tour and R&D, which is coming up. So it's been fun to kind of dip my toe back into the contest scene, but in a different way. So that's pretty cool too. A little bit of both worlds.
It's time for my first sponsor break, and I'm going to start out with Insta360 action cameras, the only 360 camera that matters these days. These are the best action cameras on the market. They capture everything around you in 8K 360-degree video. It's next to impossible to miss the shot, and your footage won't be shaky thanks to the super smooth stabilization system, which is so important when you're on the mountain. Insta360 developed their X5 and X4 Air cameras with skiers and snowboarders in mind, which means they feature a freeze-proof design, batteries with longer run times, and a super durable design that will have you getting footage from the park to powder. And when it comes to editing that footage, Insta360's proprietary editing program makes it easier than ever to create Hollywood-level content or just a simple edit for you and your friends to enjoy. It's easy. Insta360 is the best action camera on the market, and for listening to the Powell Movement, they're going to give you a special offer. When you head on over to Insta360.com, they're holding a ski bundle sale for their flagship 360-degree action cameras, including the X5 and X4 Air cameras. When you're at checkout after you make your purchase, enter the code POWELL, that's capital P-O-W-E-L-L, and you're going to get a free ski pole mount from the good folks at Insta360 Cameras. Next up, it's Elan Skis. And if you haven't skied on an award-winning ripstick yet, you're missing out on something that ski brands have long said wasn't an option. A lightweight ski that powers through anything and truly rips. It's game-changing. And Elan, while they've been around for 80 years, have been changing the game of modern skiing by doing things like adding side cut to straight skis with the Elan SCX, which changed the whole industry. They're building skis by skiers in a place with ski culture in the Slovenian Alps. And most importantly, they're supporting local shops. When the competition goes and starts selling direct, Elan sticks by their retailers who have been by them since the beginning. Elan is just built differently, and they innovate with a purpose, and that's to make your on-snow experience better, easier, and more fun. It's this approach that brought you the Ripstick and all of their award-winning skis. And when you're in the market for a new pair, visit an Elan retailer, demo a pair of their skis, and you'll know why Elan has built a cult following here in the States. To find out more about all the skis or to find an Elan dealer, head on over to elanskis.com. My final sponsor this round is Best Day Brewing. And now is the time to think snow. And skiers, snowboarders, weekend warriors, tubers, sledders, snowbikers, snowmobilers, snowshoers, sled doggers, shovel racers, snow angel makers, ice skaters, snowball fighters, igloo builders, you get it. The doers of winter are starting to get ready to shred, and post-shred, it's all about après. And this year, do après the right way. Forget about the calories, forget about the alcohol, forget about not taking more runs on the mountain, forget about getting in trouble on the way home, because with a beer from Best Day Brewing, you don't have to worry about any negative consequences. Just incredible flavor. Blind taste tests prove that you won't be able to taste the difference between a Best Day and your favorite beer with alcohol. The only difference you'll notice is how good you'll feel in the morning, and you're going to remember what you did last night, which is almost refreshing as a Best Day itself. To celebrate your best day yet, next time you're at the store, pick up a 6-pack of Best Day. Or you can always buy it on your Alaska Airlines flight, Amazon.com, or head on over to bestdaybrewing.com to get the full assortment of Best Days. Those are my sponsors. Now it's time to jump back into the podcast. When you say you were making the big bucks, did you save money, buy a house, or buy any cool shit? Or like, what do you do with the money when you're making the big bucks back then?
Oh, I went to Vegas and put it all on black. No.
I mean, that'd be awesome if you won.
I know, right? If I won. No, I mean, I fortunately have parents that were wise and helped me do good things with the money I won. So yeah, I bought a house when I was younger and kind of rolled that into a second home and some investment property and stuff like that. And tried to be smart and put some away in like retirement, like, kind of diversifying the funds a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's done me well. So I feel like the contest scene really kind of set me up to be a little more, a little more versatile when it comes to like how I'm getting paid now. Like if I didn't have that base, I would probably be in a slightly different situation now.
Yeah. All those brands that support you in the beginning, especially when you're doing contests, I would think eventually some of them leave if you stop doing contests, or at some point in your career, people just leave as it is. It's usually budget and stuff like that. And when you think about that, it's great to have brands. What's the hardest breakup you've had with a brand?
Oh, man, hardest breakup. I would say probably like way back in the day when I was still young. If I was still riding for Red Bull, like that was one that I'm like, that was kind of a hard one to do. And I'm like one that I probably regret not like appreciating or like nurturing that a little bit more. So I feel like that one would have been cool to hold on to because they are such like a rider driven company and it would be cool to still be a part of that. But that's okay. I'm like, things change, things move on. But
what's weird is, did you do Rockstar after that?
I did, yeah.
So did you just not want to be part of an energy drink and then realize that you let that opportunity go and then realize you wanted energy drink money? Or how does that work?
I think we had a little bit of difference of maybe like a difference of opinions on things. And so parted ways with Red Bull and then found a good opportunity with Rockstar. So it wasn't like an anti-energy drink thing. It was like, I think it just probably like a natural progression, and ended up finding a new place within Rockstar. They were kind of making their scene and I could be a part of that for a while. And then, yeah, kind of as I stopped doing contests, they're pretty contest focused. So it was a natural like growth away from that, which is fine. I'm happy to like have my head be a free space. I can like do whatever I want on my head again.
It's a nice thing to have that freedom. And I mean, it's a nice thing to have that thing on your head too. Either way, it's nice on both sides.
Yeah, there's pros and cons for sure.
One of the coolest brands that you've been with over time, and they've definitely changed over the years. They've gone in and out. I think they're part of Vanity Fair now, or the VF Corporation now. But Vans, like they've always been such a cool brand in pop culture, in skate, in snow, everywhere. And for you, like, We did that last podcast. I think it was probably right around the tail end of you filming for the women's project, the Listen to the Eyes project that you did with fans.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was coming out like right after that. But when you do a project like that, you have Vans and a bunch of sponsors supporting it, and you do it with two good friends. Does that make it one of the best seasons that you can have? What's like all women's kind of season, and then two best friends like traveling around too?
Yeah, I mean, that was a really cool opportunity that Vans gave us. And it's hard. It's really fun because obviously Leanne and Mary are awesome and I have a great time riding with them, but it's also hard. Like we're out there, looking for stuff to ride and there's all this pressure on us to like put a project together. So it's like, I think we feel that and it can be difficult. Like, you have good days and bad days. And sometimes the bad days make you want to pull your hair out, but the good days you're crying and laughing and having all the emotions. So, it's a labor of love. Like filming a video part is a labor of love. And you grow really close to the people that you do that with. And so, yeah, I think it was a really cool project. And that's kind of one of the bigger, last bigger projects that I have filmed a video part for. So it has a special place in my heart.
And when you think about the most fun you can have in a season, because I think, being with those two girls and going all over the place would be a ton of fun, but I wasn't thinking about the pressure of having to put something out. I mean, are the most fun seasons when you don't have that big project and it's just like go ride and get some media here and there and like just enjoy being a snowboarder?
I think it just depends on the season. Like, I think when things line up and the snow is good and having a fun crew definitely makes it a great time one way or another. It's like every season's so different and so unique. Like any time we get to go out and snowboard and document that, hopefully it translates over to the viewers. And I feel like we're just out there and there's a lot of pressure, but we're usually having fun. Like if we can't go out there and have fun, like what the heck are we doing, So every season I look forward to whatever kind of project or any kind of snowboarding that we get to do.
And as you get older with all of these projects, do you feel like you have to up the ante? Like, does risk still play into what you have to do to be at your level? Like, you still have to up the ante every year?
I mean, I think I feel that, but I think realistically, I'm not doing the same stuff I was doing, 15 years ago. I mean, I wish I could, but like realistically, I'm getting older and it's like I don't want to just chuck my carcass off of a 80-foot jump and tomahawk like multiple times. So there's still risk in what we do, but I think it's changed. Like a lot more now we're going out into zones that can be dangerous for different reasons or, just the difficulty has changed and it's not necessarily so obvious. It's like writing some different lines that might look beautiful and might look easy might have a lot of risk that people aren't necessarily as aware of. So it's just a little bit different, but there's still riskiness. There's still that risk versus reward, kind of weighing out. And a lot of the time it's just the evolution of your snowboarding as you get older. And I still will love to get out there and, do some jumps and do some cool tricks, which I don't know. I'm pretty stoked seeing other older snowboarders still getting after it. I think it's cool to see the washed up crew and the midlife crisis crew and like all those kind of older dudes still out there hitting jumps, riding pretty like cool lines and shredding. Like, I think that stoke factor is what translates to people watching and gets them psyched, not so much like the narbar factor or leveling up with the tricks or stuff like that. Like, I think that's a part of it, but I think just like having a good time and making that entertaining for people to watch to get them stoked on, their own snowboarding and riding with their own crews. So I think just things have changed a little bit over the year and throughout my career. And hopefully it's still entertaining for people to watch because it's still entertaining for me to do. It just has changed over the years.
I mean, it seems like as people get older, they reel it in a little bit and they have a lot more knowledge of what they're doing and where they're going. And with you, while you've always had a lot of personality, your personality comes out more now than it maybe did ever, which is why it's more fun to see, because you just don't give a fuck, it doesn't seem like now you're just walking around with a microphone. Like, I don't have to wait to go to the bar to karaoke. I karaoke wherever I want, and if it's in the parking lot, that's fine, and it's like you're having fun, making everybody else have a good time. But with risk over the years, what's been your closest call, like where you've scared yourself and you're like, holy shit, I'm lucky to be here?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like, man, I've been fortunate. I haven't had too many close calls, but I would say the most scared I have been for like my well-being has been on top of some lines in Alaska, just because there's such high consequence. And if you mess up, it's easy to get fucked up there. But I mean, yeah, I can't think of like one specific incident. I like, surprisingly, I like to be pretty safe. Like, I don't think I put myself into harm's way too often because I don't like being injured.
Yeah.
And I want to keep snowboarding and being healthy and pain-free as long as I can. But I would say Alaska is like probably where I feel the closest to that edge.
You feel the closest to that edge, but then I'll take it back to a different part of your career where you're on top of the Baker Road Gap, and this thing's got to be the scariest thing that you've ever done, or one of the scariest things that you ever done at the time, I would think. I don't know. I've never done that. But you spun a 7 off that thing. Is there a fear level that compares to anything in Alaska when you're on top of something like that?
No, like surprisingly, like the Baker Road Gap wasn't that scary to me. Like it's a heady jump, because it's like, oh, you don't want to land on the road.
Right.
But it's not as scary as I think people think it is. So it's like I've hit jumps that were scarier for sure in the backcountry where I'm like, oh, am I going to hit a rock? Like, am I going to make it over this other gap? Like, there's some jumps that I've been more nervous about. But I was nervous about the road gap, but I don't think it would be the scariest. So I think I was just really conditioned to hit bigger jumps. And I think it felt pretty good, felt fairly like normal. Like I was preparing kind of leading up to that. And so it just felt right, or else I probably wouldn't have done it if it didn't feel good.
All right. While I'm on the topic of sketchy things, what's the worst thing that you've been a part of where your training had to kick in, where something might have happened to somebody else and you had to get them out of the backcountry, or have you been lucky enough not to have to deal with that ever?
I don't have a ton of bad experiences in the mountains. I would say the one time that we've had to kind of like evac somebody was just me and Robin were out in the backcountry in BC, and we had a little accident where her snowboard got kind of whacked off of her snowmobile and it hit her in the arm and broke her arm.
Oh.
And so we had to like sled her out. Like I sledded her out, and then we had to like kind of go back and grab her sled and kind of like deal with that stuff kind of in the middle of nowhere. But she's a trooper, and she had a broken arm. We didn't know it, but she had a broken arm, and we kind of just hung out and partied for like 2 days, and then she went to the hospital.
When shit happens like that, do you have like painkillers and stuff in your kit just in case something happens?
Yeah, like I keep some pretty classic Tylenol, Advil, stuff like that. But then I also have, kind of leftover things from like whatever surgery or whatever stuff like that I keep as like backup, because I don't really use a lot of painkillers. Like if I had my knee surgery or back surgery, it's like I'll take like 2 Oxy or 2 Percocet, and then it's like I'm pretty good. So I usually kind of keep them around for emergencies.
All right, well, I'm going to get away from the not as fun stuff, and we'll go back to maybe what could have been the most fun years of your career. I didn't really talk about it in the last podcast. We just mentioned it, but the grenade years had to have been so much fun.
Oh, man. It was like too much fun, like debauchery. Like I look back and I'm like, we are so lucky that we got away with all that stuff.
I mean, it was like the craziest, wildest crew in snowboarding at like the peak fun years of life, right? Like everybody was just like turning drinking age, a couple years past, a couple years behind, but all right around there. And you have this company and there's money coming in. And then you guys are like the best at what you do. You're like I wouldn't say the token female, because you were just like the chick in that crew, but you were like part of the grenade crew, right?
Yeah, like it was just kind of one of the dudes. And yeah, it was just like we were all having the time of our lives. There was sponsor dollars flowing and lots of parties. It's like no, there was no social media showing everything. It was wild. It was pretty wild. Like there is definitely a lot of lore that floats around from those days that is very true. There's a lot of truth to a lot of the stories that float around from those days. And even some that, oh man, if they could see the light of day, like it would be questionable.
Well, what's a story that people question that think like that didn't really happen, that really happened?
Oh, I don't even know. I will say like the Waterville Valley World Quarter Championships, those were extra debaucherous where I'm like, how did we not get like thrown in jail or like something bad happen? Like it was just like people punching holes in walls and puking in them and people shitting in dryers and just jumping over fires and underage people drinking in limousines. Like it was like just crazy, like just craziness.
How many dryers have you seen shit in your life?
I didn't see
Just
the
out of
shit in the
curiosity.
dryer. I just heard about it the day after.
Okay.
Just one.
And then, really, you spent your whole life in this male-dominated world. You're an attractive female. Were you constantly being hit on your whole career, or did they leave you alone because you were, like, with this gnarly crew?
Uh, I mean, I would say most people kind of didn't mess with me because I was like, little sister. Like,
Okay.
like everybody's like, oh, Hana's like our sister, whatever. And, I was pretty tomboyish. Like, I wasn't necessarily trying to to be out there.
For sure.
It was more like just so into snowboarding and the party scene. But yeah, I mean, you're a girl out there. You definitely run into some like weird stuff or just people that, I don't know.
Creepy people?
Yeah, it was a weird time to be the girl in the crew. And like you didn't have a place, right? Like I would love to like go hang out with like all my girlfriends because then I could like be girly. Like I almost like didn't want to be girly around the dudes because I was just one of them, like trying to blend in. And then it's like I could go hang out with some of my girlfriends and we could like wear skirts and like act like girls.
You didn't have to be a snowboarder with them?
Yeah, like it was just like what a weird phase of life to go through like that. Like you're still kind of learning who you are and figuring things out. And it it's like my college, those are like my college years.
It's time for my second round of sponsors, and I'm going to start out with Outdoor Research. And if you haven't checked out outdoorresearch.com in the past week or so, then you haven't seen the brand new winter line, which looks incredible. I could spend a lot of this ad telling you all the tech and why Outdoor Research is better, but know that in the 1980s and the early 90s, Outdoor Research built a reputation on functional quality outdoor gear that pushed the limits of innovative possibilities. And those who were function first were all about OR gear because it was and it still is built better, and Outdoor Research is still pushing those limits of innovation. This year, the outerwear focuses on 3 new collections: the Cloud Chaser for backcountry and the Powderverse and Hemisphere collections for freeride, as well as some staples in the line like the Snow Crew collection. These outerwear systems are styled for and by athletes like Mark Adma, Troy Podnelsak, Zoe Aitken, snowboarder Neil Provo, and others, and that's why this outerwear collection not only looks so good, but each piece is more functional than ever, and they're all you're going to need in any conditions. To find out more about the new collection, head on over to outdoorresearch.com. My final sponsor this round is Ski Idaho. And if you haven't skied in Idaho, then you're missing the best kept ski secret in the nation. Think 19 uncrowded ski areas with epic terrain that all get a ton of snow. In Idaho, you'll ski a lot more than you're waiting in line, and they really have something for everyone. When you visit Idaho, resorts like Sun Valley, Grand Targhee, Schweitzer, Silver, and Tamarack offer that on-mountain lodging experience, and there are so many other mountains to choose from throughout the state. Between the snow, the terrain, the award-winning restaurants, and experiences like horse-drawn sleigh rides, indoor water parks, spas, skating, guided snowshoeing, and so much more, I'm not kidding when I say there really is something for everyone this winter in Idaho. And if you haven't heard about the 5th and 6th grade passport program that allows kids to ride multiple times at each resort for only $29, you need to check it out. It's worth visiting Idaho just for that. To find out more about the passport program and all things skiing in Idaho, head on over to skiidaho.us. Those are my sponsors. Now it's time to jump back into the podcast. Whatever happened to Grenade? Was it all just like business behind the scenes not run correctly and then it went under?
I mean, it kind of sounds like it. I don't really know the full story. I kind of hear the lore of like this happened or that happened or whatever, and I don't know. I kind of left that behind years ago and just stopped trying to figure it out and just like to think back on like the good times. And it seems like such a long time ago, and it seemed like so many years in the moment, but I look back and I'm like, oh man, that was like 5 years of my life. It was like so intense and so condensed, but it was so awesome. And I'm like, how wild that I got to experience that.
And it's some of the 5 most defining years of your life, you know, from like probably 17 to 25 is like pretty defining on like all the shit you're going to like for the rest of your life, it seems like. And you were with just like such an epic crew doing so many cool things.
Yeah, it's like the formative years. And I feel like that really kind of set the tone for a lot of my career. You know, it influenced me in ways like with meeting Travis and getting to go into the backcountry with him, with going out on the guys like sledding and just what was important to us. And I feel like that still kind of rings true. And I love that. And I have so many good memories with them. And, you know, some hard ones too, when you're close to people like that. Like there's some hard times, and I'm just really grateful that I got to be a part of that. And it's crazy how things work out. Like looking back, I'm just like, wow, like how wild.
I mean, there was a few iconic brands in snowboarding that you looked at, like the teams and the lifestyle and the videos and everything they put out. And like the Forum crew in the beginning was one of them. And Grenade definitely is one of those crews as well. I mean, sure, there's a couple others, but there's not many.
Yeah. People still hit me up today being like, I love Grenade, like all this stuff. It's like they have some diehard fans. And it was, it's just it's a cool moment.
And so another, like we said, you were on Vans, and that was really cool. You had signature outerwear with them for a while. And then did they reel that back in and you were just on boots and not outerwear?
Yeah, I was doing Vans outerwear for a while, and then they kind of cut that program down, and I think they kind of started it up again. But yeah, I've ridden for a few outerwear companies since then, and I feel like I landed at 686, which I'm stoked on. And it feels like a good little family, little crew. I got like Pat McCarthy's my neighbor, and he's our team manager, and our little Baker crew is pretty fun to go out and ride with. It feels like a good home for me.
And there was a little while in between when we podcasted and when you got 686, because I think you got 686 maybe right before the pandemic, which speaks a lot to them because they signed you before the pandemic and they kept you all the way through it. It would have been an easy person to drop if you were really new and it was like, we got to cut budget. But they didn't do that to you, which is awesome. They dropped me at that point, but that's all right because I'm just I'm just a podcaster, you know, so it doesn't matter. No, I got dropped by everyone. It seemed like it was a very scary time. I'll ask you about that time as well. But first, there's a little bit of a time where you are losing some sponsors, and it seemed like you kind of peeled back a little bit from snowboarding and it went into real estate and got your realtor's license. Was that the plan to like do realty for part of the year and snowboard for part of the year?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It's like I got into real estate and, you know, it's something I could do in the summers because that's kind of the buying season. And then I could still be free enough or flexible enough to go snowboarding when I wanted and kind of still do my snowboard job. And yeah, that was great. For a couple of summers, I subsidized my snowboard career by doing some real estate and then ended up, signing with 686 and a couple other companies and was like, oh, I guess I'm not done yet. So I did it for a little bit. And I also, like during the pandemic, got into volunteer firefighting because I didn't know what was going on, right? Like pandemic was a scary time and I didn't know what the housing market was going to do. I didn't know if snowboarding was going to be a thing. Like, so I was like, oh, firefighting seems like a, like a safe bet. Like everybody's going to need emergency services. So I got into that and did that for a couple years. And that was really fun, but ended up just having too many balls to juggle and signing with 686 and a few other sponsors. I was like, you know what? I still can do this. I can still snowboard. So I'm just going to focus on that while I can and, ride it out. If it's there, I'm going to fully seize that opportunity and try to do it the best I can while I can.
Were you an EMT as well as your volunteer firefighting?
Yeah.
I guess my question is, because I don't care if you're an EMT. I think it's awesome that you're an EMT. But did you crash an ambulance?
I didn't crash an ambulance. I was driving on a call and somebody rear-ended us, which is crazy. So I'm like, how do you rear-end an ambulance? Like lights and sirens and everything.
Oh,
I'm
you
like,
were
how
on like, woo,
fast?
woo, and someone hit you from behind.
Yes, which was traumatizing.
Yeah.
Like, it was really scary. And I'm like, oh man, that was a pretty intense call for me. But I mean, not much compared to like, other everyday calls that people go on. So, firefighting gave me a really new respect for emergency service personnel and like just all the stuff that they're subjected to and what they have to deal with and the dangers and all this stuff. So it's like I have so much respect for, firefighters, EMT, all those people that look after, the general population and deal with us in our kind of most tender moments and scary moments. It's like it's no joke. Like that's a legit job right there. And I think they deserve more than they get. So yeah, mad respect out to all those firefighters, EMTs, everybody.
I agree with you with everything you just said there, but you were thinking of plan Bs during the pandemic, but snowboarding was still not done with you. You weren't done with snowboarding and you were getting things to fall back on. Did you see friends lose snowboarding because of the pandemic? Like, did people start getting dropped left and right?
I think there was a bit of a shakeup within snowboarding during the pandemic because of just all the uncertainty. I know that there was some like structural changes within contracts. Like there's a clause within most contracts that, oh, why can't I think of the clause right now? But there's a clause within most contracts that it's like, in case of a war or a pandemic or whatever, that the contract can be voided. And that happened to a few people at companies. And I think it caused some shakeups and it caused some people to change around. But I think everybody came out of that kind of in a better place. At least the ones that I know of, I think they use that as an opportunity to pivot and to find other sponsors that still supported them and kind of found a way to make it work. I'm sure there's definitely people that were cut and didn't get re-signed, and that's a unfortunate thing that happened. But I mean, that was a wild time. Like I can't believe we lived through that.
What did you do? Did you have a boyfriend at the time or were you like stuck at home by yourself?
Yeah, I had a partner who wasn't living with me at the time, but lived nearby, and we all just kind of like hunkered down at my place and yeah, just did whatever we could, cooked a lot of food, went on a lot of walks, kind of did the whole thing with the world.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was crazy. And then when you
Yeah.
come out of the pandemic and things start to get normal again, it seems like that's when the whole natural selection talk starts, or it might have started during the pandemic. Or when do you first start hearing about it?
Yeah, like we did the first test event in 2019, I believe. It's like we did that and then we did the NST like was during the pandemic. There was talks of like putting it off and they ultimately were like, nah, we're doing it. So, all of us are competing with our face masks on and following all the pandemic protocols and doing all these tests and stuff. And that was wild, but I felt like it was such a cool opportunity, camping out on the glacier in Alaska and like doing all these different things. It was like a really unique small group. And yeah, it was weird.
I forgot, I guess, that we were all still stuck at home when you guys were doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot that. So, yeah, so it
Yeah.
must have been like you were traveling through empty airports and it was just like a weird experience all around.
Yeah, I think it was a lot more for me. It wasn't so much flying. It was more like crossing the border and like, getting your test and quarantining and doing all this stuff it was just a lot of like hoops to jump through. And I'm surprised that we were able to pull it off, like a lot of COVID tests and a lot of other stuff that they had to figure out logistically in order to like put that contest on. But it went well. And then, it's just been going ever since.
And I think that first year was like, I won't say the most important year, but the most important year in terms of I mean, you could say it progresses the sport, but really I feel like it progressed the industry because all the contests were kind of getting stale and there was nothing really that exciting. Every like 5 years, Red Bull would put something on that was cool. But this is like a new take on like what is cool in snowboarding that everybody's enjoyed watching for the past 20 years is like video parts. But it's kind of almost like, hey, well, we're going to take the video part to real time and it's going to be head to head and it's going to be a contest. And was that a weird thing to you to go to like the scariest terrain that you ever go to in your life? You were pretty much saying earlier that place scares the shit out of you, but going there and being like, it's not even like on my own terms totally because I'm trying to like beat somebody, even though you might not have that mentality, but that's got to make it even scarier.
Yeah, I mean, it completely changed the way contests are done, right? Like it revolutionized a lot of the format and a lot of the things that we see in current contests. Even like Snow League and X Games, like you'll see little bits of NST in those other big events. And I think it was really cool. It was like, that's why I was attracted to it. Cause I'm like, okay, I've been filming, I've been riding this terrain on my own terms, like when the conditions are right and when I'm feeling it and I get to ride what I want and do what I want. And that was kind of the next level to be like, okay, like, can I do this in a contest setting? Like where it's like predetermined area and predetermined day, and it's like you got to ride it the best that you can to score the highest. It's just like a different crazy combination of a contest and filming, and that was a really cool challenge. And I think that was like a really attractive part for a lot of the riders. It's like that was something that a lot of us hadn't done before, so it was a really like a new way to push ourselves in the backcountry.
And then with that event, it's not just an event for everyone on the internet and a contest for you guys. It's like a full-on experience for you as the athletes, I would think, especially that first year where you're all COVIDed and you're able to actually get together and be as one. But like when you go there for the first time and second time, whatever, do you go into a room with like everything branded NST and you're walking out with like the flak jacket, like a full outerwear kit, a snowboard, a this, a that, and just like everything dialed in where you're like, holy shit, that was amazing. How am I going to bring all this stuff home?
We definitely had a lot of cool Yeti gear, like our vests, and the trophies are weird and big. And it's like, you know, it's Travis. It's like Travis's brain behind all of it. And he doesn't do anything less than like 120%. So it was a cool experience and like so unique. And it made you feel really amazing. Like it makes you feel special and like that you're doing something that hasn't been done before and you're part of this movement. And I think that was part of the magic of it. You know, it's like, it hasn't been done this way and we're going to try it and we're going to see how it goes. It's like putting a lot of it on the line and it has been paying off. So it's cool. It's cool to be a part of something and to believe in something and get behind it and support it. And I think it was needed. I think it was something fresh that people needed and I hope that they enjoy it.
It's awesome, but it's like, it's crazy that like the Freeride World Tour has been out there for a while and with a few different tweaks, it could kind of be similar, but it's not. And it never really will be, I guess, because it doesn't have the vision of a Travis behind it to kind of create that presentation. I just don't know why the Freeride World Tour can't do what NST can, but I guess it's probably a lot to do with money too.
Yeah, and I think it's like it's hard to find a venue that is willing to work with you as much as the venues that NST has worked with. You know, it's like Revelstoke has been putting so much into like helping create this event venue, and you just don't find partners like that very often. So it's like, it's really cool and it's really special that everybody's like so in on it and that they can all kind of work towards this. And I think, you know, the Freeride World Tour is cool in its own way and is so challenging. And it's like, you got to give those riders the respect that they're due, because like not being able to be on the face and like just scope it from afar and then just get one run to nail it on like some of the most gnarly conditions. It's like, that is insane to me, like mad respect to them. But it's like, I think NST is like, let's make it the best opportunity for these riders to put on the best show they can. Let's just try and make it the best. Like we care, we want to put on a good show. We want to highlight snowboarding in its best light, and let's make that possible with like the best conditions we can get and the best features we can get, and like make it look good, you know, make snowboarding look good. And I think that that's why NST is special, because it really focuses on that.
Well, I would say it's the most exciting thing to happen to action sports since Red Bull Rampage, I feel like. And it's one of those
Yeah.
things where you're glued to the internet when it's on. And if you hear some weird sounds from me over here, I've got a dog who is like scratching himself constantly right now and making a weird sound. So I don't want you to think I'm doing anything weird. It's my dog. But I just
Oh
had to
no,
let
I
you know
can't hear
that.
any of that.
Here, well,
I don't hear any
he's
of that.
okay. Just letting you know, I hear it.
He's a good boy. He's a good boy.
He is a good boy. He's a little French bulldog who really likes to rub himself on carpet. And people seem to really enjoy looking at him doing that. But we're not going to talk about
yeah.
Chief anymore. We're going to get back into your natural selection tour. You got third that first year. You come into the second year, and I bet you're probably a little bit more confident because you know what to expect in the second year. You end up winning that. And for you, you don't have that many career wins and things. Like you've got 3 X Games silvers. This has to be like, holy shit, I'm like 40 years old or 39, or I don't know how old you were at the win, but it was pretty close to 40.
Yeah.
And that's got to be crazy that you can come full circle and be looked at in the style of riding that you like to ride. You are the best woman in the world. That's incredible. How amazing was that to stand on a podium with Travis Rice at your age?
You know, it was pretty satisfying. I won the Alaska stop. Like, I think I got third, and no, not even third, fourth or fifth or something at Baldface, and then first in Alaska. And I feel like for me, like winning Alaska was super satisfying, and I felt very validated for the career path I've chosen. And it just felt like this beautiful culmination of like my contest history and filming. And I just was like, man, like that's what I wanted. So I was like really, really happy to do that. And especially, yeah, like 39. Travis and I were both 39 when we won that. And it's just like, who would have thought? Who would have thought, you know?
And you guys were competing like at the same time too, right? You've had kind of a similar career trajectory.
Yeah. Like Travis and I would travel around a lot together. We were on Rosignol together back in the day, and yeah, did a lot of contests, you know, had a lot of good times. So it was even more like meaningful that, you know, both of us got that win up in Alaska because it's such a symbolic place. And yeah, I felt really, really satisfied with that one. So it was a good way to kind of leave it. And then I tried to come back and, you know, do it again, but it just wasn't quite my time. But I can walk away pretty satisfied being like, yeah, you know, I did that.
You've done it all. Yeah, you should be totally
Yeah.
satisfied with it. And then you were saying that a Runway Films project. So is that happening now? Like, or no, we're full, wait, you said full. Well, that's both.
Well, yeah. It's Runway Films did like
Full Moon.
Full Moon. Yeah.
So you guys are working on another project. Is it another, like, is it a 2-year deal?
Yeah. And it might end up being a little delayed. It might come out. Yeah. Not this next fall, but probably the following fall 27. Yeah. We kind of all figured that we should do like a little 10-year follow-up and just document like how everybody's lives have gone since the first full moon and how things have changed and how the younger generation has grown up and what they're doing and how they're inspiring and where a lot of the original crew are now with their families or still pursuing careers or kind of passing the torch to the next generation. There's just a lot to talk about there. And so we all got together and we're like, yeah, let's do it, you know? So we started filming last year, and it wasn't really the best year for filming. I think we had a couple good trips, and then fortunately had an accident with our crew kind of filming out in BC, and have just kind of been on pause since then over the summer and kind of slow to get into this winter. But we're all out and slowly getting back out there and going to continue filming and, you know, do our friends justice and kind of continue to document just like life and the important parts of why we do this. You know, it's a lot of community. It's a lot of friends and ups and downs. Like I was saying earlier, like we're a really tight community. And I think like even when we go through some devastating times, it's really important for all of us to come together and keep moving forward, but do it with a lot of love and appreciation. And yeah, I think it'll be a really beautiful and moving project and hopefully inspiring and touching. And yeah, I know it's going to be a really meaningful and heartfelt film. And I hope that translates to people that get to watch it.
I think it's going to be therapy for all of you as well. I mean, it's going to be a way for everybody to be supportive and not make it feel awkward, make it feel natural and supportive, because you never know how you react in situations with loss. You guys, the whole crew, everyone's had a very heavy loss, Leanne in particular, and that's really terrible, and I don't want to talk about that anymore. So that's what you've got moving forward. This is kind of the end of the podcast, and it's something where I didn't do this with you the first time around because I didn't have this in my podcast, but it's something I call Inappropriate Questions. And this is where I get somebody that you know to ask 3 questions, and they can be anything. And it's really to get you to tell a fun story. Most people go on record, and I record them speaking, and then I play it back to you. That didn't happen this time. People wanted to be remaining silent, so there's a collection of 3 questions.
Gosh.
Yeah, and they're not that bad.
Gosh.
Or they might be bad. I don't know.
If they want to be silent, it's going to be interesting.
Well, there's a collection of 3, and then the last 2 people go on record. So most people get 3 questions. You get 5, but that's how we're going to do this one. You didn't get to do them the first time. That's why. So question number 1, have you ever had any extracurricular activities with a neighbor?
Yes. Oh gosh. Yeah, my current boyfriend was my neighbor. So lots of extracurricular activities with neighbors.
All right. So he was the handyman, or I mean, who knows? I don't want to speculate at all. We'll just go there. We'll go with question number 2 there. What's the worst wrong turn you've taken in the van?
Oh dear. I don't know who you asked, but I know who you might have asked. Oh man. When we were coming back from Baja 2 summers ago, I was really adamant that we take this shortcut, and the shortcut proved to be, it was technically still a shortcut, but it was like life endangering in the van. Like we were rock crawling through the mountains of Baja, like with no one around. And I was like, we might die out here. So that was my bad. Yeah. But technically still a shortcut. We were still like 3 hours ahead of Marie and Sharka in their car because they had to go around because they couldn't make it.
Hey, 3 hours is 3 hours. So I'm going to say that.
Right?
Yeah. Seriously. That's like,
we made it. Yeah. And now we know what the van's capable of. I'm like, we can go anywhere.
All right. Your final inappropriate question from this batch. Who was the smelliest, nastiest, grossest co-team rider of yours in the Grenade Army?
I mean, I feel like the only option, it would either be Dave, Schiff, or Dennis. Maybe like Sketchy D. Maybe that's who I'm supposed to be thinking of.
I don't know. Well, that's just kind of an answer with a name. So we'll go with your first bonus question. This one comes from your boyfriend. And what's the best prank that you've pulled on him at the U.S.-Canadian border?
Oh, no. Why does he bring this up? I feel bad about this. So we were driving back from an event, and I thought it would be funny to play a prank on him that I got taken into secondary and was being held there because I had like drugs on me. And the girls were like, oh yeah, Hana got pulled in. She's being detained, like all this stuff. And then of course, like we show up at the house 30 minutes later and they're like, yeah, she's back there. We don't know. And then I walk into the house like, haha, got you. And he was very pissed. He was so mad. That was a bad prank. I don't really try to play pranks on him anymore after that.
Okay. Your final question comes from your mom. And what is your favorite foreign cuss word?
My favorite foreign cuss word? That's funny. I don't know. Merde, maybe?
All right. I was hoping tabernacle, but who knows?
Tabernacle would be the second one. Tabernacle. Yeah, maybe that one.
That's a fun one. It rolls off the tongue. Well, that is Inappropriate Questions, and that's our podcast. And it's so crazy because while we're not doing this in person, I remember sitting at like the K2 house pretty much back to back, recording that first summer at camp thinking, man, this chick is so cool. You're like a fun person who likes to do what's fun. And when it's not, you pivot. Like you raced both skiing and snowboarding and then you quit because they weren't fun. Then you competed at slopestyle and it's like you quit because it wasn't that fun. And then you went to filming and then you decided to do some more competition. Then you quit because it wasn't more fun. And it's like you're always choosing the fun route. And that's what's so awesome about you. Plus you're an awesome snowboarder and all the other stuff that you've done for 25 years. But I thank you for telling more of your story and I thank you for more of your time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike. It was great to catch up with you and even better to see you in person like a month ago or whenever that was. So big hug to you. And yeah, thanks for having me.
So that was time with Hana Beaman. And you know what? Hana is an incredible rider, but you don't get to stay where Hana is for that long by just being a great rider, because eventually you're not going to be what you were in your 20s athletically. But when you have the combination of a great personality, marketability, and a positive attitude, and it's no surprise that brands want to continue to support Hana, and the personal brand that she's created over the years still sells product. And it's because she has no ego, she's super fun, and she's defined what being cool is in the snowboarding world for almost 30 years. That's the podcast. As you listen to this one, I don't have another episode recorded. While I have 2 on the schedule for this week, it's always a stressful dice roll for me, but I've gotten pretty good at dealing with the stress over the years, and I'm sure I'm going to have an awesome podcast for you on Monday, so hopefully that happens. If not, you'll get a best of Inappropriate Questions, but I'm trying to avoid that and save that for later in the summer when I'm on vacation. But until then, thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting my incredible sponsors who make this show happen. The amazing brands are Elan Skis, Outdoor Research, Best Day Brewing, Ski Idaho, and Insta360 Video. Have a great week, everyone.